there are an estimated 1.75 million missing species lurking in the deep oceans. For the most part, these mysterious creatures stay hidden in the abyss. But every now and then, they make their way to the surface, leaving people baffled and amazed. From an unidentified sea monster to a giant squid, here are the 20 strangest creatures caught emerging from the ocean. Number 20. One of the rarest, largest, and most elusive creatures of the ocean. The giant squid is one of the most elusive creatures of the deep blue, yet they exist. Somewhere in the ocean lurk creatures that can grow up to 43 feet long and are equipped with 2 long feeding tentacles. Giant squids inhabit the deep ocean, typically between 1,000 and 3,000 feet below the surface, in what is known as the twilight zone. This is an area of near-total darkness where they rely on their massive eyes, the largest in the animal kingdom, reaching up to 10 inches in diameter, to detect the faintest glimmers of light from bioluminescent prey and avoid predators like sperm whales. Speaking of predators, sperm whales are their main natural enemies, and evidence of fierce battles between these giants has been found in the form of squid beaks lodged in whale stomachs and sucker scars on whale skin. When hunting, the giant squid uses their 2 long feeding tentacles to snatch prey like deep-sea fish and other squid, pulling them toward their sharp beak, which is powerful enough to crush even tough bony fish. Despite their size and strength, giant squids live relatively short lives, no more than 5 years, during which they must grow rapidly. They reproduce only once, releasing millions of eggs into the ocean in hopes that a few will survive to adulthood. Remember myths of the kraken and other sea monsters? It's likely that the giant squid, along with the colossal squid, are the roots of these stories. While these creatures are rarely seen alive, most of what we know comes from specimens washed ashore. Unfortunately, their bodies are used to the pressure deep in the ocean, which means seeing a giant squid in shallow water guarantees that it will perish quickly. Number 19. Thousands of blue jellies. Have you ever walked on the beach and found the shore covered with bluish plastic-like objects? You're looking at Velella, or by-the-wind sailors. At first glance, these beings look like jellyfish, but they're not part of the species. Instead, they belong to the hydrozoan family, related to jellyfish, corals, and sea anemones. These creatures are usually just a few inches long, with their vibrant blue or purple bodies visible just below the waterline. These creatures are known for their sails, which give them their name. Depending on wind patterns, these creatures can end up stranded on beaches in staggering numbers. Massive strandings have been reported along the U.S. West Coast, sometimes stretching for hundreds of miles. Though they possess stinging cells, by-the-wind sailors are mostly harmless to humans, unlike their infamous relative, the Portuguese man-o'-war. Their diet consists of zooplankton and small fish larvae, which they capture with their tentacles while drifting in the open ocean. Their seasonal beachings are often a spectacle for beachgoers, but as these little sailors dry out, their vibrant colors fade, leaving behind brittle transparent remains resembling cellophane. Number 18. The horrifying Carcass on the Sacen shoreline. The Sacen Island seawolf is a sea creature eyewitnesses describe as a monster with a furry tail and a bird-like beak whose exact nature is unknown. Its story, however, began in 2006 when locals stumbled upon its remains along the shore. The creature measured roughly twice the length of a human and had unusual features that defied easy classification. It was reportedly decomposed in some areas, with bones exposed, making identification even more challenging. Many dismissed the carcass as nothing but that of a giant whale or a beluga, but the fur led many to believe otherwise. And so, to this day, the reality behind this odd carcass remains unknown. Number 17. A predator that can eat prey larger than its own body. Snakes are known for consuming prey far larger than their bodies. But did you know that a similar creature exists in the ocean? The gulper eel, also known as the pelican eel, is one of the deep sea's most bizarre creatures, and it's known for being one of the most voracious predators of the abyss. It has a slender, snake-like body, and yet it can swallow prey far larger than itself. Living between 1,600 to 10,000 feet below the surface, this 3-foot-long fish has an oversized mouth which can open wide enough to swallow prey larger than itself. This giant mouth, resembling a pelican's pouch, allows it to scoop up not only small fish and crustaceans but also large volumes of water, which it expels through its gills. This creature is a relatively weak swimmer, so in deep water, it relies on its whip-like tail with a bioluminescent tip to lure unsuspecting prey in the pitch-dark environment. This glowing lure attracts unsuspecting prey in the pitch-dark environment. Once prey gets close, the eel opens its jaws and engulfs it in one swift motion. Though they may look like creatures from another world, gulpers are harmless to humans. However, stumbling upon one of these creatures on the beach is definitely one that would horrify anyone not familiar with these beings. Number 16. Bizarre elongated creatures. If you've experienced diving in relatively deep waters before, Perhaps you've already come across one of these organisms, pyrosums, also known as sea pickles. Pyrosums are among the strangest life forms on the planet. They often appear as a single entity floating in the ocean, with no visible features, no eyes, no mouth, just a floating plastic-like body. In reality, pyrosums are quite complicated. These gelatinous organisms aren't just a single entity, but rather a colony made up of hundreds or even thousands of smaller creatures called zooids. Each zooid is a tiny, millimeter-sized animal, but when they come together, they form a large tube-shaped structure that can grow as long as 60 feet. While most pyrosums are a few inches to a couple of feet in length, the giant pyrosums are truly massive. At night, these creatures are capable of bioluminescence. They glow with a green or pink light, especially when disturbed or touched. This glow, which can be seen from many meters underwater, is what gives them their Greek name, pyroa, meaning fire bodies. Each zooid within the colony contributes to this light display, creating a ripple effect of bioluminescence that can be rather amusing to see. Now, you're probably wondering, what do these creatures eat? Pyrosums are filter feeders, drifting through the ocean and pumping water through their bodies to filter out plankton. They might be odd and large, but they're literally beings who go with the current, filtering out plankton as they go. Number 15. The rare 2,000-pound hoodwinker sunfish. In 2024, a rare and enormous hoodwinker sunfish weighing an estimated 2,000 pounds and measuring over 7 feet long washed ashore in Gerhardt, Oregon. This peculiar fish, known scientifically as molotecta, was only recently described by scientists in 2017, making it an exciting discovery for marine biologists. Most of us are already familiar with the more common ocean sunfish or mola mola. The hoodwinker sunfish, however, is a bit more odd. The hoodwinker sunfish has been something of an enigma for centuries, and despite hiding in plain sight, scientists have only recently classified it as a species of its own. In fact, its name itself is derived from the Latin word, tectus, meaning hidden. Sunfish are known for their unusual, almost alien-like appearance, with massive bodies and tiny mouths. That's why seeing them both in the ocean and washed ashore can baffle most people. As monstrous as they look, however, sunfish are gentle creatures that are completely harmless to humans. Number 14. Sea serpents. Imagine swimming underwater and suddenly coming face to face with a long serpent, one that measures over 50 feet long. These creatures are known as oarfish. They're one of the longest creatures in the ocean. However, they're also one of the most elusive. Known scientifically as Regalicus gelatin, this mysterious fish can grow to insane lengths, making it the longest bony fish in the world. The oarfish is known for its snake-like body, bright red crest, and silver scales. Many believe that these creatures are the sea serpents often described by sailors. You see, oarfish are rarely seen in shallow water. That's why people centuries ago were most likely not familiar with these 50-foot behemoths. A single oarfish might have been the reason behind legends of the sea serpents in several oceans around the world. Despite their massive size, oarfish are harmless, feeding primarily on plankton and tiny crustaceans using their gill rakers as they drift through the deep. What's more, encounters with live oarfish are extremely rare, and they're usually only seen when they're sick or have washed ashore after storms. These beachings have sparked local legends, particularly in Japan, where oarfish are seen as harbingers of earthquakes. To this day, many consider it a bad omen when an oarfish is spotted on the shore. Number 13. The mysterious carcass of Montauk. In the summer of 2008, locals on the shores of Ditch Plains, New York, stumbled upon one of the strangest creatures that ever washed ashore, a bloated, hairless, and unknown carcass that didn't match any known animal. Discovered by 3 friends, the creature's photo spread like wildfire across social media and news outlets. This unknown creature, now known as the Montauk Monster, had leathery skin, sharp teeth, and clawed limbs. Was it a mutant experiment gone wrong, an alien, or just a bizarrely decomposed animal? No one could determine the creature's real identity, so countless theories began, including one that said the odd creature was a failed hybrid created in the nearby Plum Island Animal Disease Research Center, known for its secretive work on pathogens. Scientists, however, believe that the Montauk Monster might not be a beast, but rather just the remains of an unfortunate creature. According to Dr. Darren Naish, a paleozoologist, the beak many thought they saw was just the exposed bones of a raccoon snout, its features distorted by decomposition in the water. Meanwhile, its hairless appearance might be a natural result of time spent in the sea. Despite this, the lack of concrete evidence means the creature's true identity remains officially unconfirmed. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now. Number 12. The mysterious monster washed ashore on New Zealand. In December 2016, a strange, otherworldly object washed ashore on Muriway Beach, New Zealand. If you were to guess just what this creature is, what would you think? If you don't know what to make of it, don't worry, because even researchers were at a loss when they first saw this creature. This creature is the second being that washed onto the beach of Muraway, which baffled both researchers and locals. Dubbed the Muraway monster, this large carcass resembles something out of a horror movie. The object was first spotted by Melissa Doubleday, who posted pictures on social media, where the sighting quickly made waves. Some believed it was an unknown species, while others joked that it was extraterrestrial in origin. But really, what do we know about the Muraway monster? While it's undoubtedly horrifying in appearance, scientists found out that the terrifying mass is entirely mysterious. Upon closer examination, experts determined that the monster was actually a piece of driftwood encrusted with gooseneck barnacles, a species of marine crustacean often found clinging to floating debris in the ocean. These barnacles use specialized stalks called peduncles to latch onto objects, and they can form colonies that cover the surfaces they attach to, creating a fuzzy, bizarre appearance. While the object looked mysterious, gooseneck barnacles are pretty common in temperate waters and are even considered a delicacy in parts of Europe. Yes, you heard that right. In some countries, these seemingly cursed tube-like beings are considered delicious food. In fact, gooseneck barnacles, or percebes, can go as high as $250 per kilogram. Number 11. Mysterious hairy ocean monsters around the world. On May 11, 2018, locals in the province of Oriental Mindoro in the Philippines woke up to a rather odd sight at the beach. A hairy sea monster with no visible eye or features. This mass is just one of several globsters found around the world. Now, what exactly is a globster? Globsters are one of the ocean's most mysterious and perplexing phenomena. Essentially, globsters are massive, shapeless blobs of decaying marine flesh, and they're not a single species. Other well-known globsters include the Chilean blob, a massive 13-ton, 41-foot-long gelatinous mass that washed ashore in 2003. Initial theories speculated that it could be a giant squid or a new species of octopus, but DNA testing eventually identified it as whale remains. While globsters often turn out to be nothing more than decaying whale or shark carcasses, their bizarre appearance and the mystery surrounding their origins continue to fascinate people. These unusual creatures still pop up occasionally, sparking debates about what they really are. Number 10. The gelatin of the ocean. No, these aren't jelly balls or buckets of snot. These creatures are salps, one of the most unusual creatures in the ocean. Salps literally look like living gelatin. They're barrel-shaped organisms that propel themselves by pumping water through their bodies using a highly efficient jet propulsion system. They're filter feeders, capturing phytoplankton and other tiny particles with internal mucus nets as water flows through them. This propulsion mechanism not only moves them but also helps them feed, making them extremely efficient travelers and feeders in the ocean. But what's interesting about these creatures is the fact that they can clone themselves. Yes, you heard that right. This ability to rapidly clone themselves allows salp populations to explode when conditions are favorable, making them some of the fastest-growing animals on Earth. In fact, they can reach maturity in just 48 hours and grow by up to 10% in body length per hour. Did you know that these gelatin-like beings are closely related to us? Well, that's quite a stretch, but salps are more closely related to humans than to jellyfish. As members of the tunicate family, they're part of the chordate phylum, the same group that includes all vertebrates. Unlike humans, however, they help the ocean greatly. They play a crucial role in carbon cycling in the ocean. Salps consume large amounts of phytoplankton, and as they do, they capture carbon from the atmosphere. Upon their death, their carbon-rich bodies sink to the ocean floor, helping to remove carbon from the surface waters. This means salps are beneficial creatures for the ocean up until their death. Number 9. The polar bear-like sea creature of South Africa. In 1924, off the coast of Margate, South Africa, a mysterious creature nicknamed Trunco was caught fighting off 2 killer whales in the ocean. Eyewitnesses, including a farmer named Hugh Balance, described a 3-hour fight where the creature used its tail to fend off the whales, even launching itself out of the water by 20 feet. According to reports, Trunco resembled a gigantic polar bear with thick white fur and an elephant-like trunk, hence its name. After the battle, Trunco's body washed ashore, where it remained for 10 days, at least that's what eyewitnesses insist. Unfortunately, no scientific examination was conducted during that time, and before experts could study it, the ocean reclaimed the carcass, which again was quite convenient. It also didn't help that descriptions from alleged eyewitnesses varied, with some claiming it had a trunk and a lobster-like tail, while others remarked on its fur-covered body. Photographs of the carcass surfaced decades later, but by then, it was already hard to identify and sort through the photos, making it harder to find out the truth about Trunco. So what really is this odd creature? Today, most scientists agree that Trunco was likely a decomposing whale carcass, often referred to as a globster, where decayed collagen gives the appearance of fur. Others, however, are not so convinced. So, If you have other theories, feel free to share them in the comments below. Number 8. The MegaMouth Shark. In 1976, a U.S. Navy ship off the coast of Hawaii captured a massive fish, one that's described as being with a large mouth. Today, this fish is known as the MegaMouth Shark. Ever since its first sighting, fewer than 300 have been observed, making it one of the rarest sharks on the planet. MegaMouth sharks can grow up to 18 feet long and weigh over 2,700 pounds. Yet they're considered poor swimmers with soft, flabby bodies. They're known to follow a daily vertical migration pattern, staying deep at depths of up to 3,000 feet. Seeing this shark species can be rather unsettling because of its horrifying mouth. Unlike great whites that boast sharp teeth, the MegaMouth has a massive head and wide circular mouth lined with up to 50 rows of small teeth. But, as they say, don't judge the book by its cover. As terrifying as it looks, the MegaMouth is a gentle filter feeder. Like the whale shark and basking shark, it primarily feeds on plankton, krill, and small shrimp, swimming slowly with its mouth open to filter vast amounts of water. The inside of its mouth is thought to have bioluminescent features that help lure prey into the dark depths where it resides. Despite their size, MegaMouth sharks have a number of predators, including cookie-cutter sharks, which leave small bite marks on their bodies, and occasionally sperm whales. Even though the MegaMouth shark is not well understood, it's still recognized as one of the most fascinating shark species in the world. Number 7. The alleged plesiosaur caught by Japanese fishermen. In 1977, a Japanese fishing vessel, the Zuio Maru, traveling off the coast of New Zealand hauled up a massive decaying carcass from the ocean's depths. Unexpectedly, the Japanese anglers came face to face with a 33-foot-long, 4,000-pound creature. According to reports, this mysterious creature had a long neck, a small head, and large flipper-like fins. Does this sound familiar? That's because this mysterious creature resembled a prehistoric plesiosaur. The crew, especially Michihiko Yano, who had some biology training, speculated that what they had found was a prehistoric creature that lived undetected for millions of years, and so this carcass was named the New Nessie. Photos were taken and tissue samples were preserved before the decision was made to throw the carcass back into the sea to avoid contaminating the rest of the catch. For cryptozoologists, the idea of an ancient sea monster resurfacing after millions of years was tantalizing. Some scientists, including Professor Tokio Shikama of Yokohama National University, believed the remains were indeed those of a plesiosaur. However, after further analysis, most scientists concluded that the carcass was not a plesiosaur. Rather, many believed that it was something less interesting, a basking shark, one that was already in its last stages of decomposition. You see, as basking sharks decompose, they often lose their lower jaws and dorsal fins, taking on a shape that resembles a prehistoric creature. Chemical analysis of the tissue confirmed similarities with known basking shark specimens, reinforcing the theory. Despite this conclusion, some remain unconvinced, leaving the mystery of the Zuio Maru monster alive. Number 6. A giant octopus or something else. In 1896, a bizarre and massive carcass washed up on Anastasia Island near St. Augustine, Florida, one that puzzled locals and scientists. One day, boys playing near the ocean discovered a gelatinous mass. Its odd appearance and foul smell immediately gained the attention of many. At first glance, the creature looked like something out of a sea monster legend, an unidentified blob of flesh with tentacle-like appendages and an immense size, estimated to weigh between 5 and 6 tons. Eventually, news reached the ears of Dr. DeWitt Webb, the founder of the St. Augustine Historical Society. Dr. Webb speculated it might be the remains of a giant octopus, and that idea gained traction when Professor Addison Verrill of Yale University joined the investigation. Verrill initially declared it as an octopus giganteus, a colossal species never before documented, with potential arms stretching up to 100 feet long. Newspapers jumped on the sensational story. After all, if the carcass truly belonged to such a creature, it would be unprecedented news. However, the truth was never revealed. Conveniently enough, the carcass was lost to the tides before a full examination could take place, and by the time science caught up decades later, the truth proved less exciting. Advanced testing in the 1990s revealed that the mass was not an octopus at all, but simply decomposing whale blubber, its strange form a result of natural decay. Even so, many continue to believe that the St. Augustine monster was something far more mythical. Number 5. A big-mouthed monster. In November 1953, a strange carcass washed ashore on Canvey Island, Essex, sending ripples of shock through the local community. Described as having reddish-pink pulpy skin, large bulging eyes, and spindly teeth, the creature also had an unusual feature: 2 hind legs with concave 5-toed feet. At about 2.5 feet long, this bizarre creature left residents baffled. Shortly after the creature was found, locals immediately contacted the authorities, but oddly enough, The body was quickly cremated after a brief examination. The mysterious creature was soon forgotten, but a year later, in August 1954, a similar creature washed ashore. This time, however, it was larger than the former and more intact at 3.9 feet long. Once again, the body exhibited unusual features, including gills and the same hind limbs, but no formal explanation was given before it too disappeared from public view. With how quickly both specimens disappeared, conspiracies soon arose. Some researchers believe that the two unidentified carcasses are nothing but misidentified anglerfish or frogfish, whose strange appearances could easily have been mistaken for something more cryptid-like. These deep-sea dwellers possess spongy, fleshy bodies and bizarre fins that resemble legs, which might explain the confusion. However, without any remaining physical evidence, it would be impossible to confirm, and so the mystery of the Canvey Island monster remains to this day. Number 4. Odd cucumber-like creatures. Many people across the world have reported coming across odd blobs and gelatinous masses in the ocean that they couldn't identify. Most of the time, these beings are actually sea cucumbers. These animals belong to the same phylum as starfish and sea urchins, echinodermata, and come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and colors, with over 1,500 known species. They live everywhere, from shallow tide pools to the deepest parts of the ocean. They might look harmless, but their defense mechanism can be rather unsettling to some. Unlike other marine animals that evolve to have stingers or venom, some species of sea cucumber protect themselves by expelling their internal organs. Yes, you heard that right. Some species of sea cucumber expel their internal organs, literally shooting out their guts through their anus. The startling behavior, called evisceration, is a defense mechanism. But don't worry, the sea cucumber regenerates these organs within days or weeks. I don't know whether to be horrified or fascinated with these creatures, but that's not everything that makes them odd. Unlike most animals, sea cucumbers breathe through their anus, using a structure called a respiratory tree. They draw in water through their rear end, extracting oxygen as it moves through their body. So the next time you see one of these creatures on the beach, just know that you're looking at one of the most mind-boggling creatures on the planet. Number 3. A monster with needle-like teeth. The fangtooth fish is found in deep ocean waters between 1,600 and 6,500 feet. One of the most fearsome in the ocean, this is one of the creatures in the abyss that we're lucky enough to have in a tiny size. Despite its monstrous appearance, the fangtooth grows a mere 6 to 7 inches long. When examined closely, however, it's one of the most terrifying beings known to man. This species has disproportionately large, fang-like teeth, so large, in fact, that it's evolved special sockets in its skull to accommodate them when its mouth is closed. Despite its small size, these teeth enable the fangtooth to hunt and take on prey larger than itself, including fish and crustaceans. The fangtooth relies on its sharp teeth and powerful jaws to snatch its prey in one swift motion, which is essential for survival in the nutrient-poor waters of the deep ocean. Just like the gulper eel, fangtooths are solitary hunters. In fact, their way of hunting doesn't rely on mobility. Instead, they like to sit and wait. They conserve energy by remaining still until prey ventures close enough to be caught. They're not fast swimmers, but their large, sensitive lateral lines allow them to detect movement in the water, helping them locate prey even in the pitch-black environment of the deep. With their size and habitat, fangtooths are completely harmless to humans. Perhaps if they were any bigger, though, they'd certainly be far more unsettling. Number 2. An alleged sea serpent. If you're from around the Pacific Northwest, particularly around Cadboro Bay in British Columbia, chances are you're already familiar with the Cadborosaurus. This creature, affectionately named Caddy, is described as a snake-like being with a horse-shaped head and long, undulating body. Caddy has been the subject of over 300 reported sightings since the early 20th century. These sightings have kept a legend alive, with witnesses ranging from fishermen to sailors, and even scientists who believe it might be a new species. Despite this fact, the existence of the Cadborosaurus is yet to be verified. The creature's appearance has varied across accounts. Some describe it as having a camel or giraffe-like head, while others report flippers and a body that forms humps as it moves. Caddy's length is also debated, with estimates ranging from 18 feet to over 80 feet. Its elusive nature and mysterious behavior have fueled comparisons to other cryptids like Scotland's Loch Ness Monster. One of the most famous pieces of evidence tied to Cadborosaurus was the 1973 discovery of a supposed juvenile carcass inside the stomach of a sperm whale. Photos of the specimen exist, but experts later identified it as a fetal whale, not the elusive sea serpent. Nonetheless, believers continue to search for proof that Caddy is, in fact, a real being and not a mere myth further fueled by misidentifications. Now it's time for today's topic. In a recent discovery that has sparked widespread debate, Dr. Henry Langford, a maverick researcher, claims that early humans may have actually hatched from prehistoric eggs. This bold theory emerged after Dr. Langford unearthed several giant, fossilized eggs along the shores of Venice Beach, California. According to him, these massive eggs could be remnants of a species of proto-humans that developed inside shells, predating the commonly accepted evolutionary timeline. The compelling image seen here illustrates what this extraordinary process might have looked like, humans emerging from enormous eggs, much like birds and reptiles do today. Dr. Langford firmly believes that his discovery could rewrite the origins of humanity, offering an astonishing new perspective that challenges the traditional narrative. However, his theory has faced fierce opposition, with many scientists and researchers quickly dismissing it as implausible and unsupported by evidence. Despite the criticism, Dr. Langford remains undeterred, asserting that the fossilized eggs he found offer undeniable proof of his claims. The visual representation of humans hatching from eggs, he says, serves as an artistic demonstration of what may have been. While most in the scientific community remain skeptical, the idea continues to spark the public's curiosity and imagination. Number 1. The Monster of Folly Beach. In 2012, beachgoers at Folly Beach, South Carolina, were stunned by the discovery of a mysterious large creature that washed ashore. The large, bony-plated creature was later known as the Folly Beach Monster. At first glance, many immediately linked the 10-foot-long carcass to a dinosaur due to its size and bones. However, marine biologists who examined the alleged monster's photos believed that rather than a sea monster, the Folly Beach creature was a rare species of fish known as an Atlantic sturgeon, a large, prehistoric-looking fish that can grow up to 15 feet long and weigh over 800 pounds. After all, sturgeons are known for their tough, armor-like bodies. A single look at the bones of these creatures is enough to explain why they're easily misidentified as living dinosaurs. Globsters are honestly some of the creepiest things out there. What about you? What's the weirdest creature you've come across during your beach adventures? Drop your story in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the cool stuff popping up on the screen right now.